Okay, let's see here. How we doing? All right, we're doing good. All right. All right, good evening. Okay, we're getting back again here, and this is live today to remind you that the COVID-19-MAN is going to be having its uh, first time Mother's giveaway this year. We formed a group this year, by the way, because of this virus. And we want to share the celebration of Mother's Day, with some fortunate mothers whose names will be drawn, from. See, I have the box here. Yeah, yeah. The box will have all the names, have the names in there of the mothers in our group, and those that have been posting comments on the videos and saying they like it or they don't like it, whatever. Those are more entries. So some names are repeated there a few times because of those of you that have put a like on those videos here that I've been doing, and it'll be helping me to promote this. So this is what we're doing. So just to remind you, so this is Friday night right now. I have 10 o'clock here, 10 p.m. But I want to remind you, I'll do one more tomorrow night. And then we're going to have the giveaway, the $300 giveaway on Sunday at noontime. All right. I'll start earlier, just to make sure that everything's running. And come 12 noon, we'll do the drawing. I might start around 11 or so, just to make sure that we gather some people and get some momentum going. And then when it comes to 12 noon, we'll do the drawing. But this will be done this Sunday, Mother's Day, May 10th. So don't forget that. Keep that in mind. And so I'm sharing again. I'm going to share a little bit of of this the COVID-19-MAN, a little message that I've been trying to share with you. But I think I got the knack. I got the way of doing this now. I understand how I need to work with the mic and be checking on this from time to time to make sure that it's working, so I don't leave you in the blank here. But I appreciate those that were making comments earlier and guiding me, telling me when it was working or, when the microphone was off and when they were not hearing anything. All of that helped me to be able to, give me an idea how to do this better. So I think this time I'm not going to make those mistakes again. So we want to be talking about the success of the functioning administration of the economy. And we're going to mention what is the true gold standard, all right? And when I refer to the true gold standard, because I'm referring to what backs up the economies of those nations. Finances used to be backed up by gold, and now it's supposed to be backed up by black gold or what is called oil. You know, uh, so those two are the standards. But as it stands right now, if you've been following uh, everything that's been going on out there, a lot of people have been telling you or the purpose, you know, uh, for this new fast technology for downloading stuff that's coming, for you to download the fastest speed. But actually, that same technology is going to be used for surveillance. And, when I'm talking about the latest technology of those towers, that emit radiation that allow you to have faster downloads, but also are able to do the best surveillance possible. Now, the reason why this economy and these things are going on, as is my understanding, according to Robert Kennedy, he says that the greatest repository of treasure in the whole world right now, especially with the corporations, and for which they're willing to pay pretty money or a lot of money, is data. So data harvesting, is the big standard now that wants to take over the standard of gold and the standard of oil. Because the interesting thing, that's why this surveillance system and all this thing is being implemented and being put in place. And so that I thought that was very interesting that he's saying that that's the greatest repository of wealth. And that's why all these companies use, there's a phone for Google on your cell phone that's always recording and hearing what you're saying, because you can, if you just talk to your phone is always listening. So it's gathering all your orders, all your desires, all your habits, and all this, everything that if you use Alexa, all those conversations and everything that you speak, even though you're not using Alexa, all that data is being harvested, all that data is being collected. So the information of your habits, your browser navigating habits, or your shopping habits, all of that, all your orders you do, whether it be from Grubhub, anything that you order using your phone or any digital equipment, all of that data is harvested, and these companies are willing to collect all this data and pay some good money for this. So what do you think? A lot of these free platforms are there. These free platforms are not just free. Somebody has to pay for them. So advertising from big corporations, they end up paying these free companies. So remember that if these free companies ban you, like Facebook banned your things, or YouTube bans, well, with the content, they are not your private company. So they're not our company. So they're free to do whatever they want. But they are guided by the people that do pay them. And so if corporations pay them and they need certain things, they're going to go by the people that pay them. As simple as that. So if you're not able to pay these companies, and you get this product for free, everything that you share in these platforms, like where it be YouTube and Facebook, is just for them to gather your consumer habits. So guess what? It's interesting that I find out that Robert Kennedy said that this is the greatest repository of wealth, and so that's why all this that Microsoft does, Windows 10 is automatically set on auto spy. It's always spying what you're doing, all your functions and everything. And you cannot disable on Windows 10. You can do that with Windows 7. You can disable the auto spying, but not cannot do that with Windows 10. And so all these things are there, and even Russia in 2016, I believe, tried to eliminate all Windows because they knew they were doing too much spying on them. So they went another operating system. But the spying that Windows does is amazing, So Bill Gates has garbage that all this information, and so if microchipping is going to be possible to buy vaccine and all of that, like this is nanotechnology now. Guess what? Everything, your wants and desires and everything. So your words and desire, your way, WAY, called words and yearnings. Words and yearnings have been recorded for a long time. And now these companies, are wanting to pay big money for this. So this corporations, these big tycoons, like Bill Gates, they know exactly what the corporations want. And according to his name, well, William Gates means resolute protector of governments. That's his name. Gates means governments or administration. So he works with administrations, he works with corporations and economies, and for what is good for them. All right. So he's got the backup of all this. Thus, you understand why he stands there. Even though he has no degree as an epidemiologist or a virologist or anything like that, but he has the backup of all these big companies that want to harvest and that want to collect all the data, all the consumer data. And that's, I guess, is going to be the next standard. But I find that very fascinating, that the word of your consuming habits is becoming the next great wealth repository. And for all of that, they're turning the world upside down just to collect it privately. Without your consent, of course. They've been collecting your information without your consent for a long time. It's all kinds of devices that spy on you. If you have a laptop that has a video camera and a thing, it's spying on you whether you have it on or not. All these things, they're collecting information from you because all these big corporations, they want to know. And they'll pay pretty a penny for that. And so that's where everything stands. So that's why I'm coming to this. What is the real standard of the economy? All right. So I will be talking more about this in a little while. But let me play a song that I did the last time, and I think I can probably do it better this time because I know I don't have to put the microphone off because the song won't come out. Now I have that knowledge. So let's do this song again. That I was trying to share with you the last time. I'm gonna lower my screen a little bit so I go down to the corner. I see myself playing the guitar a little better there. All right, here we go. Let me see. All right. So, all right, here we go. Let's sit down a little bit. All right, here we go. And So we're gonna do this song of repentance, and I'm gonna try to sing along and try to, do a blending voice if I can. I was trying to figure out the last time, so I'm gonna try to blend with my own voice here, see if it can be done. But this is Second Chronicles 7:14. It's interesting that this verse says, "If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray, and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, and I will forgive their sin, and I will heal their land." So this is a promise from the Creator. If you are called by the name of the Creator, I mean, if you want to represent Him, if you're here listening to His Torah, the teachings orderly regulating all humanity, if you want to have a complete understanding of what His mindset is, and you want to line up your will with His will, and your heart with His heart, and you follow, therefore, everything that He says day and night, you meditate upon it, and so you're constantly upon the word of the Creator, so you know how to behave in this world according to His instructions, because this is His creation. So He gave us instructions so as to how we should behave and comport or lead our lives in this creation. So He says, "If my people." So it doesn't take that many. Okay, God is always sparing the whole world for for the sake of a few righteous that are in it. It's an understanding of a lot of the Jewish people that in every time, at any moment, there's always been at 36 righteous people in the whole world, and because of the sake of those 36 righteous, or Zaddik, they call them, righteous people, God does not destroy the world, because God is eternal God, and when He made the deal with Abraham that He was going to spare Sodom and Gomorrah just for the sake of 10 righteous, that deal still stands for the rest of the whole world. And I thought that that's very interesting. So 36 at the same time, because of the sake of 36 that really stick to the word, and their minds and souls are given, that the whole world has been spared just for the sake of those, that are here given over to the teachings orderly regulating all humanity. And I find that fascinating information, But in any event, so like I say, He doesn't take that many, But then you got to realize you got to change, your wicked ways. And I like to think of way for words and yearnings. That's words and desires. WAY. You got to take your words that you have invested them in the things of this world, so you can become savvy in whatever, whether it be in the world of sports, in the world of movies, in the world of finances, in the world of technology, in whatever, in the world of health, or whatever it is that you are completely have invested your knowledge in. So you got to take all those words that you have invested in the interest of this world, and all your yearnings and desires that you have vested upon that, and put it back upon the desires and the words of the Creator, and understand really what little, it's not burdensome, it's not really that heavy of a burden to follow your Creator. What He demands of you is very little compared to what the world demands and expects of you. So that's what I'm encouraging you here to do. For those of you, that realize and understand the thirst for your Maker, that's what I'm speaking to. The rest of you may benefit by the information, but I know there's some of you that have that thirst, and you will benefit from this. And it is for the sake of those who love Him with all their heart, mind, and soul, that He does everything to preserve the whole world. All right, so we're going to hear how the song goes and sing along. Let's see here. Let me play this. Second Chronicles 7:14. All right, it's coming loud. "If my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face." Okay, you're going to follow me in this, because certain segments repeat themselves. Just follow me. We'll do this a few times. If my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray, my friend, if my people which are called by my name people who struggle line by name shall humble themselves and pray. Seek my face. All right. A good verse to remember for Chuba or repentance. 2 Chronicles 7:14. All right. Okay. So you see it's a good verse. This is to inspire those that want to get back to the simpler way of life. Just listening to the word. See, take the words and yearnings that are in you. It says, commit that way unto the Lord. Commit your words and yearnings. And to me, commit is like the idea of, all right. I see my brother Louis sent me a message. Definitely, brother. I'll see you tomorrow. All right. So commit that way on to the Lord. It says, so to roll. The word commit is to roll. It's like the idea that when they were going to copy a Torah, they will roll a paper on top of the other one to make a copy. So that's the way your soul has to be rolled on top of the Word of God. That's to commit, to roll your soul so you can get the words and absorb them, and direct them into your being. So then you are a photocopy of a walking Torah, walking of the teachings orderly regulating all humanity. And therefore, and then you line up your mind with your Maker. And then you realize, that you are in the economy of the garden of life, of the organic life, the life that is magnificent, the life of the trees, the life of the insects, the life of the sun, the life of the birds, that the whole cells replicate and reproduce themselves. You don't have to work to make that happen. They just happen automatically. And you just enjoy all of that. And your job, therefore, is just to absorb these words in order to manifest His character. Because you need to remember that all creation was made for that purpose, to reveal who He is. And we were made in His image, so we will facilitate that revelation. It will be easily projected out of us. We are the adequate tool, the rightful tool for God to show Himself from us. And so the greatest asset that He has given us, and the only means by which we can acquire that understanding, is the Word that He has provided for us. So the bar, which I call, the administration of the economy. That's the word dabar. That's what it means. Administration of the economy. That's the best translation for the word dabar, which is word in Hebrew. Administration of the economy. He has given for the administration of the economy. Which economy? Of revealing Him, of being in His character. That's all He asks of us, to be under Him, to humbly walk under His words, be in the script of His character and be in His character. So we place our words and yearnings. So we have our words and desires with Him, line up with Him, and we carry ourselves in this world, with the least amount of burden to your human being, just learning something new every day so you can be useful to your fellow man. That's what I love to do. I collect knowledge. I was curious to find how this works, how that works. I have subscribed to how stuff works. I don't know if you were into that, but I was finding out how things work. I'm always curious about that. Because the idea to me that the Word can train you to cause things to function, that's very fascinating. That has always been very fascinating to me. So knowledge is the thing that I always collect, the understanding of things. So if you love to collect words, learn to collect first the works of your Maker. Learn to line up your yearnings with His yearnings, and then everything will be okay. The rest of the whole world will be made better because you're not here to take advantage of anybody. You're here to promote their lives, to make life easy and comfortable for them. So you're joining the greatest company, of all the world around you that operates in this same, mindset. Animals just hunt when it's time to hunt. They just eat when it's time to eat or something. It's just when they're hungry. They don't those waste things just for the sake of wasting things, or collecting just for the sake of collecting them to have them with them. They go with the season, and so it's an easier way of conducting your life. Here is easier for you. Health-wise, you don't have that many burdens, that many things weighing down upon you that you have to do, because society, they put so many demands on you. You have to know the world of sport. You have to keep care of all the scores of all the teams that ever played, so you can have a conversation with your friends. For the world of cooking, you have to know some good recipes so you can keep up with everybody else that's into cooking. So you have to have all these burdens down on you, you know. And you can, it's nothing wrong. You can learn those things, but you understand that if you learn to follow the mindset of your maker, the burdens are very small compared to the things the world throws at you. So I'm going to sing this song again with you. You know, it's good for us to be encouraged to change our ways and to line them up with His ways and put His ways first. And then we can enjoy everything else as time merits for us to enjoy, you know. But in the meantime, first thing goes to the first economy. The first economy was giving for the economy of revealing the character of our Maker. So let's put ourselves back into that economy, you know. And I guarantee you, I'm saying that because of the way that I've been blessed in my life, that He will provide for everything you're ever going to need. And even in times, you know, in which everybody loses everything, you know, He'll make sure that nothing is lacking for you. You know, in 2008, when a lot of people, you know, that year, that a lot of people lost their retirement savings and everything else, you know, what happened that year? That year, I got two jobs. You know, I was working a supervisor of a warehouse where they throw newspapers, and then I got a job as an interpreter, which is the one I'm continuing to do right now. So that year, when everybody had losing everything, I got two jobs, and I was getting paid good money. So I was busy working. You know, it even felt like a recession. A lot of people were going through that, but I didn't feel that. But I did not even ask for that second job. Somebody else thought that I would be good at translating, and they recommended it. I called on the phone, and it was given to me. But you understand? I mean, so even in a time when I'm not even looking for work, and in a time when everybody's losing everything, God made me have two jobs. You know, without me praying for it or asking for anything like that. But what I think I've been doing for 40 years, I've been enjoying that word. I've been lining my words and journeys, you know, my way with His way, you know, and therefore He does an amazing job to take care of you even when you don't even have to worry about that, you know. He just provides for you all the way through. And so it's true that I'm a very kind of I'm not into sports, and I'm into a lot of things that the world is into. You know, I don't even travel too much. You know, I don't have too much. A lot of people have stuff to tell you, the places they travel in the world. You know, I don't do that because I don't take vacations. I've been working my whole life. The only time I took a vacation was for a month, in which it's because I couldn't find a job during that month. So which that month I started fasting because I have read in the scripture that he that does not work should not eat. You know, so I wasn't eating. I was just fasting and just eating one pomegranate a day, which is the only plant that was growing in the back of my garden. And so that's all I had, and some water. And then after I finished that month, I finally I got a job, you know. But in all my 40 years, that was the only time that I was off, and I dedicated it just to do a little 30-day fasting. All right. But all the time, the scriptures has been my main thing. That's the thing that I live for. That's the thing I enjoy, to understand, you know, why the Maker make us the way that we are, and to just live understanding His mindset and connecting the Word with the Word and all this thing. That's just my thing. You know, that's what I'm into. And so all I can tell you is that if you follow that style, the closer you get to follow all that He tells you by the way of the diet that you eat, everything, the Torah tells you everything, what to eat, what is clean for you. You know, it tells you everything. All the things are in the Bible. So the more you get to this thing, the better your health is. You don't have to pay health insurance. You don't have to visit any doctors because you never get sick. So you don't have to worry about all these things. You know, your body stays alkaline because you know the right foods, the right food to put in there. You know, and so in an alkaline body, no bacteria, no diseases can live. They're completely eliminated right away. They want to manifest themselves. You know, even though you have a virome, the human virome, it says it has 380 trillion viruses. You and I are carrying 380 trillion viruses at any moment. So it's an amazing job that the immune system is doing in each one of our bodies, keeping everything in balance and learning to live with all these viruses in us. So I understand it's not the coronavirus the only threat there is. There's 380 trillion viruses that can be out of balance and then destroy at any moment. But if you eat the proper food, if you keep your immune system strong, you know, you shine through all of that with flying colors. You know, if you breathe the oxygen, if you're a deep breather, not a shallow breather like the world, or everybody's a shallow breather. So to me, you know, it's scary to think you've been a shallow breather all your life, and now you're putting a mask so you can breathe even less. You are susceptible to so many sickness, I'm telling you. You know, but that's what happened with people when they don't understand the simplicity of living for the joy of their Maker. All right, so I'm going to play the song once again. You know, let's enjoy this. If my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face. Okay, you're gonna follow me in this because certain segments repeat themselves. Just follow me. We'll do this a few times. If my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray, seek my face. If my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray, seek my face, and turn from the wicked way, and turn from the wicked way, and turn from the wicked way, and turn from the wicked way. Then will I hear from heaven, and will forgive us. Then will I hear from heaven, and will forgive us sin, and will heal the land, and will heal the land. My people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray, seek my face. If my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray, seek my face, and from the wicked ways, 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 then will I hear from heaven, and will forgive us. Then will I hear from heaven, and will forgive us sin, and will heal the land, and will heal the land. If my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray, seek my face. If my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray, seek my face. A good verse. Okay, so that got done. That's good. Let me get out of this one. It's a good song. Something to inspire us. All right. I get here. All right. So, like I was saying, I'm sharing this with you to remind you this Mother's Day once again. All mothers, make sure to tune in on this group for live. On Sunday at 12 noon, we'll be giving out the prizes. I'll start around 11 or even sooner, to get the thing going. And when it comes to 11, we'll give out the $100 giveaway prizes, three of them, a total of 300 giveaway to celebrate Mother's Day, and so it's a wonderful thing to do, to try to spread the joy. That's what I try to do all the time, like I say. And so I am dedicating myself because I'm understanding now from the root because I'm understanding the Hebrew alphabet, and each letter is a pictorial letter that has a meaning, a functioning meaning. Okay, and so I'm calling it the success uh, of the functioning administration of the economy, and then the true gold standard. Because remember what I told you about Bill Gates a little while ago, that they're trying to do data harvesting. That's why they've been collecting all this information as our consumer habits, because that's great information for corporations. Because they have to keep the illusion they have you freedom of will, and they use that freedom of will in the thing that they give you the freedom to buy from amidst all the myriad plethora of products that they have made, and so that people compete for those products. And as you delve into that and you choose this and you choose that, that's when you feel that you have freedom, you know. But you don't understand that your whole mindset has been captured, in the mindset of consumerism, and that's a jail. Consumerism is a jail. When you're in consumerism, you cannot enjoy productivity or being a producer, because you only enjoy, the buying and acquisition of things and acquiring things, just so you can use them and abuse them and use in your own way. So it's a jail. It puts you away from being a productive person, especially if you're not here to produce just the character you make. I'm here just to produce the character of my maker, in any which way possible. That's the first economy for which the Torah was given, the teachings order regulating all humanity. But if you don't following that, everybody copies that. Everybody has a teachings order regulating all the humans that they hire. Everybody has a manual. Everybody has a mission statement. Everybody has something for which their company and the product stands for. So you're going to follow that. So you don't get away from the teachings order regulating all humans. Okay, so the original one was for the economy of revealing his character. If you are not into that one, you are into somebody else's teachings already regulating all humans, that are hired to work for whatever company, or are made a pledge to be citizens of that country or whatever. But everybody has their little Torah to give you. Okay, but to me, this economy, this administration of the economy, this dabar, this word, is the one that's above all things. It's the original one that was given. And to be in it is the easiest way to live, okay? And therefore, for me, the goal, the true goal for me, the greatest value is this word, this Torah, this teachings order, because without it, I cannot. If I memorize the Torah, I can learn how to run a whole nation. Just like all the Jewish people that memorize the Torah, they have learned the nation, no matter where the nation has been sent and been dispersed in the four corners of the world. They have managed to survive, and so they have gone through the testing, They have proven that the teachings order regulating all humanity that is found in the original Dabar administration of the economy that was given by the Maker is the one. Not only if you see the first empire that was created, the empire of Babylon, when you look at Babylon, and I ask people who was the king who was in charge really of Babylon, because Babylon was the empire of gold, the head of gold that is in that statue. But they say there's Nebuchadnezzar, they say that that's the king. But I beg to differ with you, because the one that was running that economy to begin with, to me is the one that tells the king what he needs to do, otherwise he's not going to get to do it. That's above the king. All right? And the one that did that, it was the Dabar, the administration of the economy that was in Daniel. Daniel was taken there by the age of 13, 12, 13, or 14. And he already knew the Torah so well, that he was able to decipher all kinds of things and help the king. He was one of the wise people, and that's why he was kept by the king of Babylon. He was smart enough to know that you better keep these wise people that know their best sciences, so because they can be your advisors. And so even though he sometimes came up with ideas that went against the belief of that Daniel had gotten from the Torah, he stayed true. He did not wish to eat the stuff that the people from the king palace ate. He did not want their diet. He just stuck to the diet of the Torah and all of that. So he was strong. He was there. He was young. even though he became a eunuch, that means, you're castrated if you're going to be living with the king. So, but he stayed there like that, and he ran all this. So all those after Nebuchadnezzar and all the ones that came after him, he was the one ruling, because he had the administration of the economy, and all those kings had to listen to his word to be able to run their kingdoms. So don't. This Torah has proven itself that it cannot just run, all right, not just Israel, but it can run the nations that think that they're bigger than God and put them in their place. Because when Nebuchadnezzar got so high and almighty that he got so proud and he was accrediting everything to his power, God knew how to put him in his place according to what Daniel had told him. And then he paid attention and gave honor and homage, to the creator of all things. So the Torah that was in Daniel has proven itself that it can govern even a big nation, and a big nation like Babylon as it was, the Syrians and all the other empires that were under the tutelage of the Dabar, the administration of the economy that was in Daniel. Remember that, and don't you forget it, because that has been always the case. That's why all of that was written, so you understand. So this Torah has proven itself. So even in captivity, if you're in captivity, you have something better to say by which you can recommend the leaders, if that leaders ever ask you for your advice, how they can run the economy better than what they can do. Because the people in this economy are ignorant, really. They tell you to stay home while they figure out what to do with you, but they don't have a solution. And they trust people that are not, do not have a medical degree or thing like that, to give them advice as to what is needed for you, for the betterment of your health. Such crazy world in which we live in. So what I'm always recommending is to, be in the first economy of revealing the character of your maker. And for that, all you need is just the Torah. The teachings already regulating all humanity, and everything that the scriptures teach you to acquire his mindset and to be into his character, and don't you ever forget that, And so that this country has gone through all kinds of nations in the world and has been able to exist in all of them. And wherever they have been there, for many years, I have wondered, why China had become the head in the sense of production, okay? In the sense that other things are made in China. We used to be big leaders of production here for a long time, but that's been a long time ago. We're just happy, America is just happy to be known as the #1 consumer capital of the world, and that's something that we should be shameful of, because we should be the #1 producing capital of the world. I'm sorry. What happened? I've been singing and then talking, so this gets my throat a little dry. But in any case, so I was wondering, how come China has become the producing company of the world? Because everything is made in China, even if it's badly made, but it's made in China, and they sell to many nations, And even though they're communists, though, So, but they have even lent to many nations. So they have become the head in the economy. And even though they're still admiring, because they still want the habits of the Americans, they want their music, they want the choice of clothing and everything, we still, lead them in that sense. So they still want to be like us, But they don't realize that they already are the head, and that they have lent a lot of money to the United States and all that stuff to all the other economies. So they have bought a lot of the world already. But I was thinking, even though they're communists, they have this production ability there, and I got to research a little bit, and that's interesting. I found out because I've been listening to some of the conservative rabbis, ultra-conservative rabbis, like I have listened to Tobias Singer, and I have listened to Jaron Rubin, Joseph, a lot of the ultra-conservative that have their channels in there. And they usually teach 2 hours, 2.5 hours or more. And I like that, because I like people that delve into history, a lot of stuff. And so I've been learning a lot from them. And I find out that they say, because they had already had the answers for me. It says that when, when the Jewish people were being ostracized and put in danger by Germans, by the Nazis, and they, had all this anti-Semitism against them, they say that China welcomed them. China has no anti-Semitism even until now. It says they don't have any anti-Semitism against Jewish people. Yeah, I know that They might get hard on the Muslim, or they might kill Christians, and they might kill Muslims, and all of that, but they fear the Jewish people, and they don't do anything anti-Semitic against the Jewish people. And so they are welcome in their place. They do business with them, and they are very respectful of the Jewish people. So now it makes sense to me. That's why they're blessed. Because they who bless them, I will bless them, says the scripture. So that's the reason why they were made the head. Because there's really, as a nation, they don't have anti-Semitism against the Jewish. Now here in America, there's a lot of people that have anti-Semitism. Not everybody, but a lot of people though. So in America, there's all kind of opinions here, but there's a lot of anti-Semitism that's fomented, that comes from America. So America is under attack on every side right now from all nations of the world. And so, but what I'm saying is interesting that in that sense, now I understand that the COVID-19, is all part of China and everything else, but they've been trying to control that as well. But the pandemic has affected the whole world right now as it is. But in the sense of why being made the head, I understood that, why China had surpassed all the other nations, because as a whole nation, they are not anti-Semitic in that sense. They don't have anything against the Jewish people. And that was a learning experience to me. It was an eye-opening experience. Then it makes sense to me, because I know other nations, like Venezuela and all that are socialists or communists, that they are starving and they're not producing right now. But I know some leaders in there that they were saying that they hated, that they hated the Jews, with all their strength. I know my sister was reminding me of that. In Venezuela, I don't remember the name. She said Chavez or somebody was saying how he hated the Jews, and this guy died of cancer or something. What I'm saying is, when you got something against the chosen of God, hey, God knows how to keep His word and do something will not prosper in the world. So you got to understand that. So, I'm encouraging you to get into the original economy, which is the revelation of your character, your maker, and you're not going to be disappointed one bit. Okay, and the keeper of all creation is going to cause you to prosper. All right, let me share a little bit of the study that I wanted to share with you here. Let me see if I can find it here. All right, it's this one. Okay, I want to read this word and share this word with you. I know it's taking a long time today, but I want to remind you again, this Sunday, don't forget to join us, for Mother's Day. Okay, let me put this more in here. As we do this. All right. Okay, now I'm going to read this for you. Isaiah 40, 1-8. It says, Isaiah 40, comfort ye, my people, saith your God. Speak ye comfortably to Jerusalem, and cry unto her, that her warfare is accomplished, that her iniquity is pardoned. For she shall receive of the Lord's hand double for all her sins. The voice of him that cried in the wilderness, prepare ye the way of the Lord, make straight in the desert a highway for our God. Every valley shall be exalted, and every mountain and hill shall be made low, and the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough places plain. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together, for the mouth of the Lord hath spoken it. The voice said, cry, and he said, what shall I cry? All flesh is grass, and all the goodliness thereof is as the flower of the field. The grass withereth, the flower fadeth, because the Spirit of the Lord bloweth upon it. Surely the people is grass. The grass withereth, the flower fadeth, but the administration of the economy of our giver of directions, of God, giver of governing operations director, shall stand forever. All right? That the bar of our maker shall stand forever. And what's coming right now is the dismantling of all the pride of the governments, of the administration of the lesser economies, because everybody has the bar to run their nation with, the administration of the economy. And at this point in history, this is a pivotal moment because it's showing that all the economies are under this pandemic and they were not prepared to prevent their people. And as a matter of fact, by the way they were running the economies to begin with, they was you're making it possible for this to happen. Okay? Because everything is run by what I call the 1% knowledge of everything. All right? So everything is run by, not by knowledge. Knowledge is the definition of science. Okay? And people want to tell you that science is what's dealing us. So if you call yourself a scientist or whatever, you say that science and the scientists are the ones leading the way. Well, I'm going to prove to you right now that everything being done on 1% knowledge. Okay? And when you have 1% knowledge and 99% ignorance, you cannot call yourself a scientist. You can call yourself an ignoramus, because ignorance is what you have the most. Okay? So that's why you understand ignorance is what you have the most. And so if you of the 100% knowledge of the subject, you only master 1%, and knowledge means, and science means knowledge, you cannot call yourself a scientist because you're only 1% knowledgeable. And that does not merit for you to bear the title of knowledgeable by only having 1% knowledge of your subject. You understand what I'm trying to say? Okay? Now, what I'm trying to say by that, before I share this part, I'm going to give you something here from a picture here that I got before I get into more in depth with this. Let me see. I think I have this here. No, it's not this one, but it's the other one. Did he? Here we go. Yeah, look at this. Nice thing here. I want to share this with you right now. Look, this book was written. It's called The 4% Universe. All right? 4% Universe, it says. Dark matter, dark energy. All right? And then it's written by Richard Panik. Okay? To remember this name, I think in my mind, Dick Panik. It better be a dick that panic, because he has handed his head on a platter to me. Because with this title, I can destroy all science. I'm going to show it to you right now. The 4% universe. And this is something that a lot of scientists agree. All right? And this says here, let me get closer to this so you can read it here. Okay, let me see. So in the book it says the following, okay? All right, let me see here. All right. All right, so let me see. So I'm going to put it here smaller so you can read it better. All right, I'm going to lower my screen. But this is about what this book is about. All right. It says, fascinating. One of the most important stories in the history of science, Washington Post. In recent years, a handful of scientists have been racing to explain a disturbing aspect of our universe. Only 4% of it only 4% of it consists of the matter that makes up you, me, and every star and planet. Only 4% of it is the physical planet that makes you and me and everything and planet, right? The rest is completely unknown. 96% of the universe is completely unknown. And so they call it dark matter, dark energy, because they're in the dark. They're ignorant. So they try to come with a scientific name. Well, it's dark matter. No, you're saying that you're in the dark. You're 96% ignorant. That's what you're saying. All right? 96% of science is ignorance. Only 4% is knowledgeable. But wait a minute. Of this 4% includes all the stars, the galaxies, and everything that is in the physical universe. And guess what? As it stands right now, with the technology that we have right now, we haven't even gone and explored all of the physical universe that there is. So we would know less than 1%. Right now, as it stands, we know less than 1% of the physical of universe, because we have to do observations, test everything in there, be there to declare that we have some knowledge of all the physical universe. We know less than 1% of all the physical universe because we have not been allowed to go on, don't have the technology yet to go everywhere in the universe, and to do all the studies. So then, honestly, if I were to ask you how much of the universe you really know, it's got to be less than 1%. So you are 99 point something percentage ignorant of the entire universe, if that's the case. When we put it in that perspective, it says here, Richard Panic, which I call he's a dick panic now, tells the dramatic story of how scientists reached this cosmos shattering conclusion in vivid detail. So this is something that a lot of scientists agree on. They go along with this book. Vivid detail. He narrates the quest to find the dark matter and even more bizarre substance called dark energy. Nice names of calling. We're in the dark about this, so they call it that stuff. Dark matter means it's dark stuff that we don't know anything about, and dark energy means just it's some energy we are completely in the dark. That makes up 96% of the universe. This is perhaps the greatest mystery in all of science, and solving it will bring fame, funding, and certainly a Nobel Prize, based on hundreds of interviews and in-depth on-site reporting. The book offers an intimate portrait of the bitter rivalries and fruitful collaborations, the eureka moment and blind alleys that have redefined science and reinvented the universe. All right? So the thing to me is when somebody writes a book and they call themselves by the name of knowledge, because that's what science means, it's knowledge, you know things, okay? But you are only less than 1% professional as a scientist, because the other 99 point whatever percent you are ignorant. You cannot take the name of knowledgeable by only being 99% ignorant of your subject and only 1% knowledgeable of it. You have to call yourself by something that defines ignorance, not that defines science. Science means knowledgeable, because you're mostly ignorant. All right, so if you're mostly ignorant and you're asking me to trust you or to call you, I will call you a scientist. Anybody that calls themselves a scientist, I will call you a scientist when you know 51% of the universe, which is more than 50%. Then I will say you're starting to be a scientist. You're starting to be knowledgeable now, because you're more knowledgeable than more ignorant. You see? So, but when ignorance is what you're most, you are not entitled to take that title of being knowing. Because they say that God is all knowing. But now you're saying that you're knowing on the basis of 1%? Then you are mostly ignorant by your own admittance here with this book. That's what you are. You're mostly ignorant. That's why you're admitting with this book and by backing it up, because it's not fiction, it's reality. And if this is your thing, you have given yourself enough rope to hang yourself, because this doesn't fly for me, And this is how this whole world captures you, okay? You gotta understand, let me put back the thing that I had here from the beginning to share this part. Yeah, look at this way. Okay, let me read this part here. The part below here, below LTN. Let me open this wider so I can get it closer to you. All right, I think I got it. All right, I think I got, so LTN, less than nothing. I'm using it from this verse here. Isaiah 40:17. Is the universe, I wrote it this way. This thought I woke up with this morning. It was just in my head and I had to write it down as soon as I wake up. I wake up with a lot of thoughts and I had to write them right away. And that thought becomes a weapon by which I can just destroy the logic of a lot of arrogant people in this world. But this is the verse that, this is I call it verse, but this is the thought that I woke up this morning and wrote it down as soon as I woke up. The universe is not waiting for you Listen to this. The universe is not waiting for you to know and understand how it works. And so the universe, therefore, just works or functions without you having to know and understand how it works or functions. All the creator of the universe asks of you is for you to trust him and follow his simple instructions on how to conduct yourself in his creation, on the basis that you can see that everything is working. You know, like your heart is working, your brain is working, your eyes are working, your nose is working, the sun is working, the moon is working, the birds are working, the trees are working, the rivers are working, the cascades are working, the clouds are working, the birds are working. Everything's working without you giving it permission or waiting for you to turn the switch on and start working. The economy that he made, the living economy of the life garden, is working and is functioning without you knowing how it works or without you ever giving God a 2-cent opinion on how to make it work. He just made it work without you. So he doesn't need your opinion on how to make it work. He already knows how to work everything that pertains to life. Okay? So all that he asks of you is for you to trust him and follow his simple instructions on how to conduct yourself in his creation. And that's the case for anybody that you're going to work in this world. You're going to go work for any company, whether it be a computer making company, you go in there. The company doesn't need for you to understand how the building works, how the electricity in the building works, how the building was put together, how the machinery that makes the computers and assemble them work and everything. They just need you to listen to the simple instructions for whatever it is that you hire to work for that company, whether it be to assemble a product, to put together a chip or a microprocessing board, motherboard, to do all these things. They'll give you the manual and also the instructions that you need to follow, so you know how to behave in the creation of that creator, in his environment, of his business creation that he made. And so you're not expected to have the knowledge of everything for the boss to start making it work for you. He's having things running already, and he just called to follow his simple instructions. So that's the same what the creator says. He's here, So it says, okay, so let me read that. So his simple instructions on how to conduct yourself in his creation, on the basis that you can see that everything is working in spite of the fact that you don't know or understand how everything functions. In the garden of lack, I forgot to put the F. In the garden of lack, which is the opposite to the garden of life, which lack, I stand for let's all control knowledge, because we want to be able to control knowledge. Because remember, that's the tree of knowledge, the discernment of good and evil, the knowledge, which is, so man was tempted to live everything by what he knows. He decides what's good and what is evil. So then he guides himself by knowledge, by what he knows. But in order to be able to do things by what he knows, he has to create a garden of lack. All right? And what is the garden of lack? That's the garden of the industries that you happen to be living in. All cities and all industrialized countries of the world. Okay? All the industrialized countries of the world. I want to write something before I forget. Okay? All the industrialized countries of the world, that have man-made plants and factories, all those plants are not like the plants of the garden of life that are self-replicating or self-duplicating. They are retarded plants in the sense that they need you to work to raise them out of the ground, to build a place, to make the product. So they ride on human energy, on us, on our brains, learning how to assemble those products and services, and on our arms and legs working to make it happen. So we become ground. The work in the garden of life, the ground, those all the putting together of the plant and sending all the nutrients to make the fruit. The ground does that. The dirt does that, because that's the function of the dirt, to do that. So, but in this garden of lack, we have to take on the function of the dirt, the function of the ground, because we get to build this man-made plant from the ground up, and we have to provide the products and that, just like the dirt does for the plants of life, you see? So we acquire that, and so therefore, we each one of us get a little piece of knowledge, to make computers, a little knowledge for that, to make cars, some knowledge for that, to make TVs, to make electro domestic appliances, all kinds of stuff, to make beds, all the comforts that you have in a house. For all the comforts that you have, all the external comforts in a house, there's a particular knowledge and somebody that had to work on those things. So in order for those economies of those external comforts, we need to have knowledge in order to make those products and put them out in the market where everybody can have access to them. And so that's the only way, right? So you recognize that if you're going to live in an industrialized nation, that you're going to have to acquire certain specialization. You have to become a specialist in something. Okay, you got to be a mechanic, you got to be whatever, but you have to become knowledgeable on some product and service in order to contribute to this. So we understand that unless people apply that knowledge, so therefore the idea that you need to have knowledge to know how to run the world kind of gets into you and makes you think that, yeah, that's so true, But then that's just true for the garden of lack. Think about that. The garden of life, the organic garden, the way that our cells divide, all of that, the mitochondria, all the stuff has to do with the organic world. Just in the insect world alone, as I Googled, I found out that the way, when you take all human flesh and you weigh all the human flesh, and you take all the insects in all the world and you weigh all the insects in the world, the weight of the insects is 35 times bigger than the weight of all flesh, the weight of all flesh. So the weight of all insects in the world is 35 times more than the weight of all flesh. So just think about that for a moment. If the weight of insects, and there's trillions, there's a lot of them because there's small little ones and everything. And so imagine to run that economy of something that weighs 35 times more than the flesh. And us as human beings have nothing to do with that economy because we don't run that economy. To run that economy, to know where they can go under the ground, on the trees and everything, and to assign the seasons for that, that's an amazing economy. And I don't know, how it runs. I don't understand it. But still it works because it doesn't need my know-how or my understanding for it to work. My maker makes it work. You understand? So just think for a moment, and so understand that. And I'm not thinking the creatures under the sea. I'm not taking the animals in the world. I'm just talking about the insect. So just there, you can see that the arrogance of men, So he invents these little cities and he corrals all humanity, like a little cattle in barns, he puts them in these industrialized nations in which he teaches them you got to know certain things to survive in this industrialized nation. And he convinces them that it's knowledge that is important, But then when you understand what is this knowledge in these industrialized centers in the world compared to all the physical universe, but what it says here in Isaiah 40:15. I'm going to go here. Behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket and are counted as the small dust of the balance. Behold, he taketh up the isles as a very little thing. And Lebanon is not sufficient to burn, nor the beast thereof sufficient for a burnt offering. All nations before him are as nothing, and they are counted to him less than nothing and vanity. That's why I come with this term, less than nothing. Okay? So if you admittedly say that you're 96% ignorant of the universe, you're not a scientist. You're an ignoramus by the definition, because how can you call yourself a knowledgeable one and be proud of it when you only know less than 1% of your subject? That's something to be ashamed, to hide your tail and go away. I said, what? How did I ever call myself that? But the thing is, they became arrogant in their ways because nobody is confronting them. But by their own admission in this book that I just told you the title, they are admitting that they're a bunch of ignoramus. That's all they are. And they cannot ever claim that title because there's only one who says all-knowing, and that's the maker of the universe. And he has running an economy, just the economy of the insects is running. You can see that it's working. The insects are doing their job. You can see that the sun is working. You can see that everything is working without men having to do anything about it. Okay? And then they want to make you believe that, oh, these things, because we're in this corral, that they're controlling the climate and they're watching over everything. You have even no control of how insects work, and you think you can control. All of this is just for propaganda. Okay, so I call it the 1% economy. That's why these whole economies right now in this type of pandemic is a great time to expose them. They're nothing but a drop in the bucket and the dust in the balance. Like the balance where they put a weight here and they put the pound of beans on the other side, and there's a little dust that was there on the scale. That little dust, but the whole nations and everything are like that to him. They don't mean dwiddly squat. But the reason why he's saying that, because that's in contrast with his word. Because earlier in Isaiah 48, it says, the grass withered. That means the flesh. And the flower faded. That means the accomplishments of all the flesh. All the accomplishments that we do is the flower that fades. But the word of our God shall stand forever. But the administration of the economy of God, which he uses the dabar. And the dabar is found in the DNA, because the administration created the DNA, and that's what I call Dr. No ailment, that runs each one of our cells. We try to havoc at it by our diet that we eat and stuff like that. But if you eat according to the scriptures of the Torah, you'll have better health and everything. But what I'm saying, all of that is run by words. We have come to the DNA is a code, so it's a word that runs the flesh. Even the trees are run by RNAs. All these things, so everything is run by a code. The economy, so the word, that makes everything. The administration of the economy of our God shall stand forever. So that's what's running everything. So even though we don't understand most of the world, we are in the dark about it, when it comes to that, And so when it says that, we are less than nothing. And another thing that I was going to tell you too, I told you earlier, that we are run by 1% knowledge and 99% ignorance, and that's what the nations count on in order to keep you deficient. Because if you're deficient, you get weak and you need them to control you. Because if you have only run your whole life on 1% of knowledge and 99% of ignorance, you're going to be weak and susceptible to anybody, and everybody will take advantage of you. That's just plain and simple, just what you need to understand. Now, I remember I told you that there's a guy, named, I believe is John Warren. He wrote the book of the nature of crops. This book talks about there's 300,000, all right, 300,000 edible plants, okay? And it says a total of 400 plants are there in the world. It says, but 300,000 of them are edible. And this is what is made for the care of this body. And for the organic world of the insects, they also live off those plants. And the animals also can eat of it. The fishes and all these things, because also the plants inside the sea that are edible. And so there's all these 300,000. And then he writes in that book that of those 300,000 industrialized nations, like this country, they make sure that only 200, a meager 200, which is less. You understand? That's less than 1%. 99% we're completely don't even know their names of those fruits and vegetables and seasonings and whatever. But of 200 of those, they made sure that those are the ones distributed among the nations. So we are deprived of the knowledge and understanding of the other 99 point something percent, of the plants that are edible. No wonder people don't have longevity. They're deficient. They're susceptible to sickness. Because we are not vaccine deficient, you guys. We are garden deficient. We need the original garden. We need the original 300,000 access to all of that for us to have longevity and the best health possible, But if you deprive the nations and you keep them in the dark, now once again, like I say, so these so-called scientists, because these people study those things, the plants and all of that, they only study it from the 200, plants, edible plants, and condiments that are allowed, most industrialized nation on purpose, allow for you to harvest. Get the book. That's not me saying that. And so, you see, 1% of knowledge leads what you eat. 1% of knowledge leads everything that you do, the governments, your rules, and everything. That's why everything has to have external governance. People externally policing everything, and everything is compartmentalized. So there are thousands upon thousands of rules to run everything in a society that is so weak because nobody learns everything. Everybody's busy just learning something for to keep up the deficient and the garden of lack. You know, so are you proud? Let me ask you now. Are you proud of these economies in the world right now? That they run themselves on so-called people that call themselves scientists, and they don't live up to the meaning of their name? Because scientists mean knowledgeable one, and they don't have knowledge, but only 1% of the subject they know, and they call themselves scientists by that 1%. Okay? So I have no respect whatsoever with those people that call themselves something and they cannot live up to their name. So until the scientists can show me that they have done 51% and studied the universe 51%, then I'll start calling them scientists. Until then, you just profess to be that, but you're a complete ignoramus. Ignoramus is what you are because you're not knowledgeable. Knowing 99% of your subject, and admittedly saying so, you are an ignoramus. That's your title. By your own admission. I'm not coming within you. I'm just taking the words that you wrote in your book and then taking it to the final conclusion. Because you are what you're most made of. So you're mostly made of ignorance. That's why you are an ignoramus. And so you are trusting this nation full of ignoramus that call themselves scientists, misappropriation the name, because they're not really knowledgeable. So they're just bringing down that name. They're not scientists yet. They have never been. They just call themselves that, but they have never been. The administration of the economy of the original maker, the governing operation director, is the one that's still in charge up until now. Okay? And then they keep you in the dark about your edible fruits and vegetables and plants that you can have, so that you only have access to 200. And most people, of those 200 people, most people that I ask them, they can even tell me 30. Name me 30 fruits and vegetables that you eat. Most of them stop at 15. So how deficient are you really? And remember, the garden is really what feeds this body. The best thing for this body was found in the garden, especially if it's organic and we're taken care of without pesticides. But even the lands, they don't have, they're nutrient deficient because they don't put the right nutrients back. And we have all these things, flying, chemtrails, and all these things. So even the fruit in our gardens and all of that is contaminated with some things. Make sure you wash everything real good. But what I'm saying is, this is what you have to deal with. A bunch of ignoramus in government, a bunch of ignoramus in scientists, because quote unquote, because they don't really live up to the name, and you still want to trample, and then therefore they act like bullies. They say, we're going to come and tell you what to do. We're going to come and tell you what the solution is, and they don't even know anything. But I'm here to tell you, so that's what I wrote here, that the garden of life, you got to know how everything works for it to function, but not so for the garden of life. So in the garden of life, God does not need you for you to understand how he makes things work, because all he wanted for you to do is to trust his word, for him to reveal, to learn the script, to be in his character. Okay? So all you need to trust was that. You not need to know how he puts the stars in orbit, or how he put the moon in orbit. All these things that we think we need to know are not necessary. But when you are put in the garden of life, they think that you need to know how the stars are working, so you have to go over there. Even though nobody's inviting you to go over there, but you say knowledge is everything, because you have convinced the people in that garden of life that knowledge is what runs their deficient, retarded garden of man-made plants. And so that's for they oh yeah, man. So we have to put all our money in this. No, you got to realize, the stars are working without you having to understand how it works. It was a basic economy. 613, mitzvahs or commandments, for you to understand and to be in his character. All right? And and don't get me started with those people saying, those commandments, if you say something to your mother, you got killed and stoned to death. If you say something to your parents, you were stoned to death, all these kinds of things. So if you did anything bad, you got killed. That's what they say. Okay, so it's old things. You can't get those things again. No, no, we cannot go backwards like that. Okay, but let's say what man has done with his freedom that he has now. Okay, here in America, all right, we have so many freedoms of everything. But have we done better than God? How in the sense that there are commandments in there that if you say something against your parents, you could be punished, even stoned to death if you were rebelling, you were a glutton or anything, a guy like that. All right, but you have to break a commandment. Okay, it's not like just for the sake. You have to break one of those commandments. All right. Now, do we in our 21st century, right now, as we are right now, do we punish or do we hurt somebody, for not doing anything at all? You know, uh, let's say somebody hasn't killed, hasn't cheated, hasn't done anything that society considers bad. You know, do we do something there, therefore, just for the sake of, just wanting to? Right now, if we just want to, just because I want to do it, do we encourage doing harm and treating harshly somebody that doesn't do anything bad? When I put it this way, you might be thinking, "What? No, we don't really do that." There's people that are abusers, but they might do that, but we really don't do that. No, no, I beg to differ. But according to the Bible, in that same book that you claim that is so rigid, that it killed people for any little thing like disobeying your parents, all right, according to that book, you are a person the moment you are conceived. Okay, not when you're born. They consider you a human being the moment, the egg meets the sperm and you ovulate and you conceive. That's when you're a human. So according to that book, they doesn't give you permission to kill you because you start the moment you are conceived. That's when you start as a little. So according to that book, because and it goes by that, you do this to the most innocent of all, because you have approved of abortion. So you approve that somebody that doesn't done anything to society, that somebody that does done anything to harm anybody in this world, that is somebody that hasn't even planned to do anything bad in this world yet, or like it has like. Because in court, they try to judge you for intent. They want to know what intentions were. So somebody that has no evil intention or anything to come and do anything bad in this world. He's just there, not doing harm, just minding his own business, floating in his mother's. That's where you are. That's when you start, in a nice universe of water and ocean, and you'll be informing it, not planning anything for anybody. But you are, according to this book, because this book respects you from the very start. This Torah respects you from the very start. That's when he considers you. And there he makes sure that he wants to make, that Torah wants to make sure that nothing happens, so that you, especially there, and so there, so somebody, when you are the most innocent, when you haven't done anything to anybody, we have consent that if we want to, we can let the mother or wherever you are, we can make the mother have somebody, just not only just harm you, but mutilate you and cut you into 1,000 pieces, and it's quite all right, because by this so-called economy, you are not even considered a human being at that level. And so, what have we done with our freedoms? Have we done something better than the original economy so that we can point our fingers? We are better. We are better established. We know how to run it better than God did. We know how to run it better than the original economy. The innocent are safe with us. Nobody's going to suffer those external atrocities that you can see there. No. You are guilty. Each one of you that have consented year after year with the Roe versus Wade to continue year after year, we have killed nations and nations of innocent people. And this same family that supports Planned Parenthood, which is where Bill Gates come from, the moment 1973, when that law was signed in, we signed with the blood of the innocent children. I said we, but forget me, I wasn't here then. And I'm still not a citizen of this country because of that. I never became a citizen of this country One of the main reasons is because I was supposed to, when you become a citizen of this country, you have to pledge allegiance to this nation. And I knew by the time that I could become a citizen that this nation already, because I was back in '87, uh, the amnesty program started, and all my relatives became citizens. But I just stay as a permanent resident because I was not going to pledge allegiance to a nation, that authorizes the killing of human beings from the start of conception, when you're conceived. And so I was not going to be part of this. So I never pledged allegiance. I'm staying here as a permanent resident, and I renew it every 10 years, which I don't mind. I mean, my parents brought me here when I was a minor, so I had just to stay here. So I grew up here. But this is the thing. So you live in this nation, or you crave the benefits of this nation. You love this nation. You understand that this nation signed, with the blood of the unborn children. They signed that they could be killed. All humanity could be killed. When you're signing for abortion, you're asking, because that's the Bible considers that the beginning of humanity. When you fight for the beginning of humanity, then all of humanity. If you say that the innocent can be killed, then all the ones that are less than the innocent can also be killed. That's why where you are. And this guy, Bill Gates, that comes from the same stock of that family that supported Planned Parenthood, he's empowered to kill you and use vaccines to do so, because you empower that. You sign it over. You sign the whole, humanity. America did. When they signed for abortion, you sign it for yourself. Because according to the original Torah, that's the beginning of humanity, the moment of conception. So if you are putting in agreement, I don't care what you say, but the original, he sees it that way. You sign for abortion, that means if it's okay in your mind because of your own convenience or whatever, you think you cannot be responsible for this, it's okay to abort, okay? So then you can be killed as an adult for any reason. You've done a lot of mistakes already, all right? Because you signed for it. You gave authority by saying that as in my early beginnings of humanity, I'm going to sign, I'm going to vote for it, and millions of dollars upon millions of dollars are going to be given for this to continue year after year. And you have done nothing to revolt but keep going on this. That's why you assign. So now that this is happening, don't be surprised by it. All right? So that's what I'm calling you to repentance, like this song says. You need to turn from your wicked ways in every way possible and realize that all the economies of the world, because everybody copies the United States. As soon as they did, all these other nations began to follow similar laws. And so every nation right now, I believe all the nations, industrialized nations, allow abortion and everything. So every nation that allows abortion, they have signed, in the blood of the unborn children, they have signed for all human beings in that nation to be killed at any moment and for any reason. All right? That's what you need to get across your mind. That's why all these things are allowed to happen. Because God knows exactly how to bring judgment upon those that do not follow his ways. So repentance, I tell you, turning of your ways and asking the maker of the original economy, which is still running it right now, the Garden of Life, to show you, what to do, and to get back to his word and to line up your words with his words and his journey with his journeys. Because all these economies are nothing but bullies that have completely failed all of us because they run on 1% knowledge. So the scientists are a bunch of ignoramus, and that's the economic scientists, the business scientists, all the knowledge that they have is run on ignorance because it's just based on the garden of lack with the retarded plants that cannot self-duplicate or self-replicate. All right? So I leave you with that thought. And I know I took a long time, but I think it needed to be said. So let me go here. All right. Let's see. Okay. Live producer. Okay, so here, end live video. All right, let me see here.